Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the 24/7. My name is Niharika Valia, and I am with you for the area of accounting and finance for managers. So, today we'll be moving forward towards the next topic that is called ledger. From journal towards the ledger, what's the difference between the two? Let's understand this particular concept. Okay. If we say the term, if I use the term ledger, right? If I'm using the term ledger, how we look forward towards the ledger? Ledger is basically the tabular presentation. It's the tabular presentation of the journal. Each and every journal entry is basically recorded in such a manner that all the debits and all the credits are noted, and in such a way that it is basically in a tabular form, which is called a T-shaped account. And the debit side is stated here, the credit side is stated here, and amounts are stated here. So if we look forward, if we talk about the ledger, it's basically a tabular representation of the journal, and it's basically summarizing of the journal. How are we summarizing it? If I take up cash account, right? So all the areas or all the elements where cash was debited or credited, all those journal entries would be taken up here. That is, we'll write date, and then we will have particular, and then we will have amount. Then we will have date. Then we will write particular. And then we will write amount. So here, whenever the cash was debited would be specified here. This is our debit side and this is our credit side. So the debit and the credit side would be noted in such a way that this is called to side, this is called the buy side. To side would state all the elements where the cash is debited, and the buy side would be the area where the cash is credited. If the cash comes in, that would be stated here. If the cash goes out, that would be stated here. Why? Because debit what comes in and credit what goes out. On this basis, the entire cash account is prepared, and we are preparing the cash account. How do we record the cash account, everyone? It is based upon this particular fact that whenever we are receiving cash or we are losing cash, it would be recorded in a tabular form. The entire journal entry, if I say I received cash, that is cash to capital. If I introduced into my business, now capital is being credited, agreed, but by what particular thing it is debited? It is cash. The cash is on the debit side now. Then we will give the reference of to capital here, and we will specify the amount that we received. Say we received 10,000. Now the next point that comes is, if I lose money because I withdrew money. I withdrew money, that is basically drawings account debited. D for drawings, D for debit, it is always on the debit side. If I take the money out of the business, then what I'm doing? Drawings to cash, that is of rupees 1,000. I withdrew 1,000 rupees from my business. So then what are we doing? It is by cash, this would be by drawings. See? This is basically by drawings. What have I done? Look at it again. When the cash was debited, the counterpart is stated here. When the cash was credited, the counterpart is stated here. So when there's a drawings, it is shown on the debit side. When there is a capital introduced, it was shown on the debit. This is where the cash was debited, stated here. Where the cash was credited, stated here. It is to capital and by drawings. So how do we record it? It would be by balance carried down. This particular process where we are balancing it. Can you see? First of all, I know that I got 10,000 rupees in my business, but now I'm losing just 1,000 out of it. If I introduced 10,000 and I removed 1,000 out of it, what are we left with? We are left with 9,000 rupees. So basically this particular 9,000, because always remember the debit is always equal to credit. There can never be a situation where you will find any inequality. So in this case, what are we going to do? The process of balancing it, the process of finding a balancing figure which would give me an implication that if this is 10,000, this is also 10,000, right? So this was the balancing figure. So if it is the balancing figure, it would be stated here. Right? So this process of taking your journal towards the ledger, this process is called posting. This process is called posting. And this process of totaling it is called casting. So with this particular, in just one slide, we have studied the entire concept of ledger. This is the entire concept of ledger. Nothing else would come up. Whenever you find any specific, for example, when I'm teaching, how many times do I specify my name? Do I say that Niharika is doing this, Niharika is doing that? I say I am doing this or I am doing that. The same case happens here. As you can see, the cash account is prepared. Why do we have to specify cash time and again when it's written on the top? Why do we do that? We won't record the cash account on the top. We would record it in such a way that two capital and by drawings. So basically I'll record only the counterpart because cash account is already recorded. The remaining part has to be recorded. Right? So this is journal going towards the ledger. Now, let's look forward towards a few questions, right? Here comes the questions. Which one of the following is known as the king of all books of accounts? General journal, cash book, general ledger, business book. Which one of the following is known as the king of all books? King of all books is basically the general ledger. This book contains all the separate accounts that we are preparing. If I took the cash account, if I take here in the previous question we talked about capital. Now we'll prepare the capital account as well. Then we'll prepare the drawings account as well. Every single account which you find in your journal would be created in terms of a tabular form, and all these tabular forms are covered under ledger. So it would be treated as a general ledger. Okay, so next question. Transferring information from the journal to the ledger is known as transferring, posting, balancing, or journalizing. What would you call it, everyone? Transferring information from the journal to ledger. We've just talked about it. When you're taking the information from journal to the ledger, it's called posting. These terminologies are important because these terminologies can be given in your examination in any specific manner based upon the difficulty if they would like to add it. So these terminologies are really important, especially in order to even understand the next level. Then, which of the following accounts is expected to have a debit balance? Asset, expense, loss, or all of the above? Okay, do you remember we have done the term cradle? I've talked about cradle a lot in my classes, right? So when we talk about cradle, it is aid, which is on the debit side. So if it is aid, which is on the debit side, the correct answer would be all of the above. The correct answer is all of the above. Next question, a collection or group of all accounts of a business enterprise is known as ledger, balance sheet, trial balance, or journal. When we are collecting all the accounts, we are collecting each and every account together here, it would be treated as what amount? What would be the answer there? It is general ledger. That is what we talked about. The same thing goes here. It would be ledger in this question. Next question. An account having a credit balance in the general ledger will be classified as an asset, an expense, a liability, or all of the above. An account having a credit balance in the general ledger. If anything has a credit balance in the general ledger, then what would be the particular amount be? An asset, an expense, a liability, or all of the above. Credit balance in... Okay, I think I'll have to go back and let me specify another important point here. This particular portion, the carried down is shown on the credit side now. Since the debit side was more, this would be called a debit balance. Shown on the credit side, but called a debit balance because the debit side is more. Whatever side is more is treated or is called that particular amount. So basically, since this side is more, so we'll call it the debit balance. So the correct answer here would be which particular portion will have a credit balance means anything which be shown on the credit side. So with the credit side would be more. An asset doesn't have a credit side. An expense doesn't have a credit side, but a liability has it. So the correct answer is C. The correct answer is a liability account. Next question. The difference between the total of the debit side and the total of the credit side of the account is known as deficit, debit balance, balance, or credit balance. The difference between the total of the debit side, if the debit side is greater than the total of credit side. We have just talked about it. The side which has a greater balance is more. That is, we can define it as a debit balance. Oh, okay, sorry. The difference between the total of the debit side and the credit side. No. If the debit side is greater, oh, this is not even specified. The difference is given. Okay, let me specify it. The question that was going in my mind was if the debit side is more. The difference, if we have to look forward only towards debit minus credit, it is only balance. But now the point arises is if the debit side is more, then we call it debit balance. If the credit side is more, we call it the credit balance. Right? Oh, I think now it would be visible in a better way. You can note it down. This is an important point in order to understand the entire portion of ledger. This is all which is required. Moving on to the next question, everyone. It says, if the total, okay, now here comes the question, if the total debit side, if the total debit side is exceeding the credit side, then the ledger account is said to have debit balance, credit balance, surplus, or normal balance. If the debit side is more than the credit side, then it is called a debit balance. Whichever side is greater would be treated here. Next question. A non-zero balance of a ledger account represents increase in account, decrease in account, increase or decrease in account, or no change in account. Okay, if a non-zero balance in account, that means it can be anything. If it is not zero, then it can be actually anything. Then account can either increase or decrease. There's nothing specified there. It is basically a non-zero figure, right? So correct answer is increase or decrease. Next question. The next question says, which of the following correctly represents the sequence of the accounting cycle? Journal entry, transaction analysis, and ledger, then transaction, then journal, then ledger, transaction, journal, and trial, transaction, trial, and ledger. The correct answer is journal, then okay, the correct answer is actually go through the transaction. First of all, find whether the transaction belongs to your business or not. Then note it down and then go towards the ledger. The correct answer is B. Transaction, journal, and then towards ledger. That's the movement. Okay, the next question. If the debit side, here the question says if the debit side of the bank account is greater than the credit side, it represents cash at bank, bank loan, bank overdraft, or none of the above. If the debit side is more than the credit side, it represents debit balances, and anything which has a debit balance is basically an asset. So bank loan is a liability. Bank overdraft is again a liability. Cash at bank is the amount that I possess in my bank account, which is basically an asset. So the correct answer would be cash at bank. Right? This is where I end my session. I'll be meeting you tomorrow at the same time. But before I end my session, let's talk about what have we come up for the JAIIB and CAIIB classes for the upcoming attempt. And once the new year has started, you will always look forward to, we are coming up with more and more batches and more working towards the JAIIB examination. So let's look forward what exactly are batches are going on for the JAIIB examination. You can go on to our website or in our app, that is www.adda247.com. Here you will find in the JAIIB and CAIIB area, first of all, you can purchase the JAIIB and CAIIB Kamaha pack, where you can look forward to both the courses together, or you can also take up only JAIIB Kamaha pack, where you will find the JAIIB pack would be here only, where you will find all the live classes, which would include all the mock test series, both bilingual as well as English. Both would be available for you. All the video solutions, all revision batches, all recorded batches, all ebooks, numerical batches, case studies, topic-wise e-questions, and even in-depth analysis of the subjects. So what are we waiting for? If you're preparing for JAIIB examination, then this is a win-win package for you. What can you do if you're looking forward to this particular batch? Then you can click on the area of buy now, and you can use the code Y541 and you can apply it. Here you will get it for 7543.08. That is, you'll get it at 77% discount. If you have coins in your account, then you can get it up to 78% of discount. So hurry up and check it out on our website or in our app for further details. And in case you feel like you are interested in only the JAIIB examination, not looking forward towards the Mahapaks, but you're looking forward to covering the syllabus there, so this is the place where you can find our JAIIB New English Target Batch, which started on 26th of December. So if you're looking towards this batch, you can click on the area of buy now. The online classes are there. This batch doesn't include any of the test series and everything or the further batches, but under this you get multiple things. Again, this batch would cost you 4599.77 at 77% discount. Validity is 8 months, but what would it include? 145 hours of live classes. Then you'll also get the test series along with ebooks. But that's it. If you're preparing for JAIIB and CAIIB and looking forward towards our Mahapack, there you will get multiple things. What are the different things? There you are getting the test series, the revision batches, both bilingual and English language. Here you will get only the English medium batch. There you will get both. Plus, there you get every other batch that would be coming up for the JIB examination. So, once you buy that particular batch, you'll get everything for the JIB examination. Nothing new has to be bought by you. So, you can check it out on our website or in our app for further details. And you can use the code Wi-Fi 401. So, hurry up and look forward to it. Thank you, everyone.